Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for your patience as we get ready for a live social media event. My name is Tim Lee. I'm the Executive Director for the Texas Retired Teachers Association, and I have so much that I'd like to cover with y'all today, but I want to try to do it in a condensed amount of time because I know that everybody's time is valuable, and I wanted to spend a few minutes today talking about the work that was done by the U.S. House Ways and Means Committee yesterday on the Social Security programs known as the Windfall Elimination Provision and the Government Pension Offset. These are some of the most important issues that our members communicate with our association about, and we are incredibly grateful for the time and effort that our members invest in working on these Social Security provisions. I want to start today by saying that the best outcome that we can ultimately see Congress take is the ultimate end of the Windfall Elimination Provision and the Government Pension Offset. Our association has worked for years to see that these programs are known about because many people in Congress did not know about them and know how they affect public servants, teachers, firefighters, police officers, and many other public servants around the country. But ultimately, to end them so that they are not having a negative impact on people who spend their most of their lives working in public service. And so we are continuing that work with our members with the Texas Retired Teachers Association, as well as all of our friends and colleagues and supporters and other stakeholder organizations around the country. And yesterday was a significant step forward for all of the effort that has been put into these concepts for years. And we have put on the screen a couple of points, and we're going to go through several of these today. And I want our folks to know, as well as people around the country, that we are taking away some major points of interest and acknowledgement as we try to ultimately win on the idea of getting to a point where WEP and GPO can go away, and what the strategy looks like in the here and now. So, as I said, yesterday's hearing was the most significant action addressing the WEP and the GPO since 2016. It was in 2016 that we were discussing a markup on another bill for WEP, and there was a lot of communication going on around the country about that hearing. At the time, we got to committee and worked the issue significantly, but ultimately the committee did not take action. And the significance about yesterday is that there was action taken by a committee. In fact, in talking to my colleagues and friends and other experts who follow this issue, we're fairly certain that since the program's inception, there hasn't been any committee action where ultimately some measure passed out of committee by a vote since the WEP or the GPO started. And so that was a big deal. And it is a big deal because it is adding a lot of notoriety and emphasis and expectation to the issue and getting us hopefully to advance the idea of accomplishing our ultimate goals sooner than later. And so I want to thank everybody, all of our friends, colleagues, stakeholder, constituent friends around the country who have talked about HR 82, who have raised that issue, who worked with congressional members to bring awareness to the idea that WEP and GPO are very unfair Social Security provisions, and that we need a better solution and find a better path forward. But the question is, what does that path forward look like, especially in light of what occurred yesterday? And of course, everybody's going to have their own opinion, and I'm anxious to see what some of those opinions are as we look at comments on this video. And for the people that I'm working with and my staff and my colleagues, we seem to listen to the commentary yesterday and realize that there were two distinct paths forward that were being talked about. One of those paths forward is something for the here and now. And the idea that there needs to be a bipartisan solution that can be worked on and passed, even in this Congress, with the remaining days that we have left in this congressional cycle. We don't have many. If you think about how many days are left for Congress to actually finalize any work in this congressional cycle, it's probably less than 20 days. So when we're looking at one of the paths forward and listening to Ways and Means Committee members from all over the country, the conversation yesterday was, do we have a bipartisan solution that can help people right now? And we're getting there. The chairman of the committee, Richard Neal from Massachusetts, who's been a longtime supporter of all public servants and someone who is passionate about fixing the issue of the WEP, is working with our good friend and colleague, Congressman Kevin Brady from the Woodlands, who has also been a longtime champion of getting to a solution on specifically the Windfall Elimination Provision, and ultimately developing a strong national coalition of support to continue to advocate for a solution on the GPO as well. But there is a strong sense of committee members in Congress about a solution that can be brought forward in a bipartisan fashion past this Congress and hopefully start providing some relief to retirees who have been WEP'd and offering a better path forward on Social Security accountability for those who have earned it by making contributions and paying them back based on their actual contributions to the Social Security Fund. And Mr. Neal and Mr. Brady are working in earnest on a bipartisan solution that we believe still has time left to be accomplished, passed, and sent to the administration, ultimately to help people with this Congress still in session. The other path forward that we heard a lot of comments about is that Social Security has a number of challenges in its future, and that one of the challenges that we face is how do we get rid of these unfair provisions that, as members testified yesterday, congressional members testified yesterday, when these two provisions were created in the 1980s, the intention may have been one that had merit, but the outcomes and the reality and the consequences of what these provisions actually are have ultimately hurt people in a very financially devastating way. And that long term, there needs to be a more comprehensive solution on both of these provisions, and that it may take more of a larger Social Security type reform approach that would make WEP and GPO something that would disappear ultimately forever. And many congressional members looked at HR 82 as the right idea, but potentially causing some other financial consequences that Social Security is not equipped financially to deal with. And we heard a number of congressional members making the comment that the cost of HR 82 are very high. And here is, one of the areas where I know folks are going to make comments, and let me go ahead and try to take into account what I know our members will say, and that I don't necessarily disagree with. It is hard to say that something that is an unfair provision, which is costing people their earned Social Security benefits, a cost to the fund if the money is being taken and it shouldn't be taken because these provisions are unfair. In other words, I paid in or my spouse paid in. I simply want what I've earned, and I would like to see these provisions go away because they are hurting me financially. And it seems like the Social Security fund is benefiting from the pain that I'm experiencing, fiscal pain that I'm experiencing because of the windfall and the government pension offset. And that is absolutely sound reasoning that TRTA and many of our colleagues and advocates around the country agree with. What I will say is that when bills like this come before Congress, they are provided a score or an accounting of what, if they were to pass, what would they cost? What is the fiscal exposure for these kinds of bills? And in the committee yesterday, the testimony was that that's a little focus. It's live TV, everybody. That the Social Security Trust Fund would experience a shortfall in the future of $800 billion or more if these programs were just eliminated like HR 82 is hoping to do if it were enacted. That's over a long-term Social Security projection, but that $800 billion viewed by the committee is $800 billion that the Social Security Trust Fund does not have, and that the Social Security actuary has informed the Ways and Means Committee that it could ultimately exhaust the funds, the Social Security Trust Fund's ability to pay benefits in or by a full year. And so instead of being insolvent and able to pay full benefits in 2035, HR 82's passage may bring it down to 2034 or less. And when you listen to the congressional members who are tasked with overseeing Social Security, that's one of the areas of interest and concern that they brought up in looking at ultimate passage of HR 82 by itself. There were some other numbers that were thrown out in those discussions, and in the 10-year projected cost for full repeal of the GPO and the WEP, the Social Security actuary said in the first 10 years it could cost as much as $180 billion. Again, our objective today is not to try to convince anybody that these numbers are right or wrong, or that which way to view them. Just going over what the committee talked about, I'm pointing out that they brought that up as a concern for something that is an immediate issue that would have to be addressed, in that the bill does not have some of the pay-fors that could be necessary to make sure that the trust fund was solvent going forward. And so these items were brought up by very well-intentioned and I think very articulate committee members who absolutely had many positive things to say about why public employees needed the help and the ultimate elimination of these programs. At the same time, their duty is, hey, we've got to figure out how all of these puzzle pieces fit together. And some members of Congress were pointing out that there were other bills and other ideas and other programs that could be a part of a bigger, longer term solution to Social Security funding, Social Security reform, and ultimately how do we fix WEP and GPO so that it can be ultimately eliminated and go away. And so I think that the big picture for us is that as we move forward, we're really faced with what can we do? What can we do right now with the time that's still available? Is there still a path forward, knowing that there is more interest, there's a higher sense of acknowledgement on the issue, there are more people talking about it than in recent memory, and that there are several options that Congress has to take action right now. Uh, part of the conversation yesterday was designed and I think successfully pulled together the idea that there is more urgency right now on doing something, and that urgency means that with the time remaining left in this Congress, we should look for every opportunity to pass a bipartisan solution on WEP that would be the first action taken ultimately to fix WEP and GPO. But in the almost 40 years that WEP and GPO have been around, no bill has ever passed Congress. But today, because of the work that has been done by TRTA and our friends around the country, including our friends in Massachusetts, our friends here in Texas, our friends in Louisiana, in Kentucky, in Illinois, in California, and Nevada, and so many places. Our national coalition is a strong group of individuals that represent large groups of members that are trying to do something now, and then continue to advocate for better outcomes as we move ahead. We still have 19 or 20 days that Congress can still come back and pass something. And so our focus is still on the big picture. Our focus is on some of the components that can be pulled together now. And I was particularly interested yesterday in watching these hearings, listening to Chairman Neal and Chairman Brady talk about how close they may be to coming up with a bipartisan solution that could be implemented immediately to help people that are currently WEP'd and people that will be dealing with an unfair, arbitrary WEP formula by passing something that congressional members can support, and really giving us more momentum to advocate for improved outcomes in the future. And so I really believe that our members, in reading through comments yesterday after we sent out our update on this with the Texas Retired Teachers Association, are encouraged. They have high expectations, and more than anything, they are hurting financially because of the increased pressure of inflation and the growing need to see some action taken, and that every year that Congress does not act on helping in some way is just another year that makes it more complicated to advance the issue and try to fix these problems. And so from our organization to all of the folks that are watching this today, one of the things that was said yesterday is that this is a complicated, not a lot of easy answers, many agendas that people have about protecting Social Security and work that is trying to get done. But we're getting there. We are getting there, and progress is being made. And it's because of you. It's because our members have not lost hope. People around the country continue to advocate. And we are advancing at times that in previous years, I could say we're dead in the water or going backwards. But because of the continued push on the issue, we are advancing. And I believe that yesterday's hearing, more than anything else, uh, impressed upon congressional leaders. There's tremendous support in Congress to act on the issue. Uh, if we need to act on something that helps us now, I believe we can do that, and I think that we can do that in this Congress. I think if that action is taken, people that are wept might be able to expect $150 a month in increased Social Security benefits indexed to inflationary increases with Social Security. I think that the people who could be retiring under an unfair, arbitrary WEP could be treated more fairly and be paid back based on the contributions that they're making. I think that ultimately any solution that we come up in the short term would provide enough protection to people that are currently working so that we could continue to pass other reforms and make this better. But our members need the help now. And we are advocating for a bipartisan solution that leaves the door open to continue to improve how we move ahead on the WEP and the GPO. Just a few numbers, because I think it's important. Congress received information saying that more than 2 million Americans are affected by the WEP, more than 700,000 people are affected by the GPO. The government pension offset is certainly the one that can be more financially devastating to our members, to surviving spouses, many of who are female, and it can be very financially devastating to lose that income. And there are many reasons that we need to continue to advance these issues and find ultimate solutions. And we're getting there. And I'm very interested, as I said, in getting more feedback. Most people around the country know that I am high energy and usually am so in a better way. But I will tell you that I did have a little bit of a medical issue recently with a procedure done, and I'm losing my voice. So I'm just trying to get through this. So if you're wondering, why is he a little slower, more quiet today? It's because I'm losing my voice. And I'm just trying to get through this so that we can get you informed and keep you updated about what's going on. So I really am grateful for what you are doing and how you're working. Keep it up. Let's continue to connect with all of our Texas congressional members. Let's continue to connect with Chairman Neal's office and express our sincere interest that they move a piece of legislation this Congress. And we want to hear from you and look forward to those communications. And I can promise you this, every day between now and the end of this congressional cycle, TRTA is going to be taking every opportunity to make sure that something gets done. We cannot lose the momentum that we have, especially after what I thought was a successful conversation in the Ways and Means Committee, the first vote on WEP and GPO in many, many, many years, and one that is bringing national attention to an issue that deserves national attention, because it is high time that our public servants are treated fairly, that they receive their Social Security benefits back, and that future retirees are not negatively impacted by these just terrible provisions that hurt so many seniors and future retirees. So, and with that, I want to say thank you all for watching. Thank you for being patient with my voice today. And we look forward to more of these videos as we move ahead in ultimate victory in this congressional season as it comes to a close. I hope you all have a great day. Please like and subscribe. Like us on Facebook, share the video, promote us on YouTube. Let's let everybody know that people are working on this issue and that we're going to strive to get this thing over the finish line this Congress. Hope you all have a great day. Thank you so much.